Hi, this is Stina Sandberg, and this is my Viva voce presentation for my professional project module. In this Viva voce, I will discuss and assess the rationale for this project as well as how it was planned and implemented, and evaluate the concepts I had both for the visual and the musical aspect of this project. For my professional project, I decided to gear my coursework for this module to support my artistic project, Stina Mai. The rationale I gave myself was to produce and execute the filming and recording of a live session. This rationale came out of the context and dilemma that I have found myself, my music, and my band in for the last couple of years. My music and my band is very much in a young stage where I don't have anything recorded or produced at the moment. But I very much long to perform since this is my greatest drive with the music and it always inspires me to create more and is my creative fuel. However, I have often found myself in a which came first, the chicken or the egg dilemma of a live music versus recorded dilemma. I want to perform live, but my creative content online is not reflective of what my music sounds like with a band. The only creative content available at the moment is limited to a few guitar and vocal demos online on SoundCloud and on YouTube. This is limiting my possibilities to get booked for shows since I am not able to present myself properly. However, I am not keen on getting into the studio to record just yet. My sonic identity is not fully formed and I'm yet to find a producer to work on this development with. My solution for this pickle was to film and record a live session. In this way, my songs would get recorded and I will be able to present myself in a professional yet creative way that I would come to call my audio-visual business card. As well as creating content to show to future bookers or venue managers that I would get in contact with. This audiovisual business card would also work as the first material, creative material that I would be able to share with my current audience. To create the whole audiovisual business card, I would need to plan, implement, film, record, edit both the audio and the visuals and market the project fully, but taking into account that I did not only have to finish this module, but 3 other modules for the rationale for the professional project, I just decided to restrict it to the planning of filming and recording the project. Obviously, the aim is still to complete the whole project, but in the time frame I had to play with the other responsibilities I have in my life, studies as well as a part-time job. I am so extremely proud that I have gone through with this project, and I'm very happy with the end result. However, if I would redo this project, there are things I would tweak about my planning of the project and my management styles. As I evaluate and discuss the planning of this project, I also need to slightly mention on the management style and the lectures that we had in semester A, since both very much influenced on how I planned this project and further implemented it. Since this project was based around filming and playing live, two core Preparations and planning aspects for this project were rehearsals as well as planning for the shoots with the director, Gabriel McCartney. The nature of filming the project and building upon or reacting to previous events in the planning process led me to work with a combination of the waterfall and the agile management technique. These management techniques helped me to be flexible and develop my project to better it as I went along. Semester A was incredibly important for the development and the solidification of the rationale. It was helpful to discuss and refine it with my peers, and this helped me to create the skeleton idea of all the implementations and the rough time frame that I needed the implementations to be done within. However, we only had one lecture on management styles, and concluding semester A, I felt that I left the semester with a minimum of knowledge and tools on how to manage my project, especially to the standard that I felt was required from ICMP. I know it is my responsibility in how I manage the project, and I see my flaws. I will talk about them a little bit later, that I had issues with not having detailed enough planning. But going into semester B, I felt that all the management techniques and how I handled the process were relied on my gut instincts and of previous knowledge of productions I'd just been involved in, but not had been the lead creator as I was now, instead of relying on information and tools that ICMP had given us. Having said that, I know that the responsibility of how the management of this project was going to occur was down to me, and I see two major areas which affected my management style. The first one is that I could have used a more detailed plan of all the implementations that needed to be done, and a more detailed plan of when they needed to be done. But another really big factor was also fear. But let's talk about the planning first. I did not set out with this project with a detailed enough plan of how I was going to handle this waterfall management style, and how I was going to track and make sure that all the implementations would be done, and just a way of recording my plans and my implementations and my deadlines. But I can also see that whilst the tracking of the planning and the implementation might not have been perfect, I can also see that a lot of the time anxiety and fear came in the way of me implementing my plans in time. These fears often came from areas of concern when it came to, did I make all the right choices? Do the people I am collaborating and creating this with, are they respecting my work, and are they enjoying doing this together with me? And I had this especially a lot with the band, where if there would be maybe a 2-3 week pause in the rehearsals, I would doubt myself and my decision making, and it would really hinder me from really wanting to get to the rehearsals and work on my project. But I realized that talking with the guys and just creating together with them eradicated that fear. Once I got going, everything turned out fine. This did not only happen with the band, but this affected every part of the project. I believe it's partially the flip side of wanting the best of my work, but it's also the gathering of a lot of emotions and thoughts of being in last year and getting my project out there, and this being the first more real and solidified project I'm doing for my artist project Stina. I would also like to talk about the development of the visual and the audio. So for the visuals, I ended up with a look that was very rustic, but still very colorful, but with natural lights. So the color pops was very much accentuated in my fashion choices, bright orange and pink makeup. But the venue we were at was a bar that was an old garage converted into a bar, so very many timber beams with exposed brick and graffiti, and this is a very well representation or reflection of my music. My music often finds a drive, a young, energetic drive, but still has a lot of mature influences from folk and such, whilst the other younger influences are more driven from pop and neo soul as such. So that visual representation is a very nice meeting point between and reflection of my musical influences. However, the visual concept started out completely different, with thoughts of it representing more the lyrics, especially the lyrics of Sea to Sky, which is talking about forests and northern lights. And I had this image of being in a very dark studio and playing with lights, having them replicate the illusions of northern lights, but with the logistics of recording sound at the same time as filming, as well as just logistics of light, money resources to create all those light spectacles and the appropriate venue. I decided that I needed to go with something more rustic, and that's where the venue Wolfpack was really key. As for the audience, I think this will be a more relatable. The visuals I have now are far more relatable and bringing me back down to earth. And this is something that's very important to me and my artistry, because I want to be able to connect with people, and in order for people to do that with me, I need to be relatable, and I am just starting out, so it's very good to reflect that in my visuals. And for the audio, my intentions were to record 3 songs with the band and 1 song with just me and a choir. The initial plan of how the band setup was going to be was me singing, Severin on cello, Matthew on bass, and Carlos on drums, and another person on either keys or guitars. However, I never got around to adding that third person on keys or guitar, so it ended up with me playing the guitars in all the songs. A couple of the songs I had already decided that I would play on guitar anyways, but I slightly do regret not getting that second guitarist or keyboardist to fill in my role, because that would have let me concentrate on my vocal performance even more so. On the day of the shooting, we actually did not record 4 songs. We recorded 3 songs. This was a result of setup time issues that we had coming from camera equipment not being able to be picked up at time. This was due to that the renting facilities for the camera equipment opened later than we had thought, as well as my drummer Carlos having to leave earlier than expected due to assessments later in the day. On top of that, right before starting to record, one of the cello strings broke, and my cellist, luckily we were not too far away from his place, and he was really quick and went back to his place and got his other cello and had restringed his cello within 7 minutes from breaking the string. All this accumulated to us just having time to record 2 songs with the band and 1 song with the choir. I could have chosen to do 3 songs with the band, or even just do 1 song with the band, but with all the preparations done for this professional project and the renting fees of the venue, I thought it would be a shame not to at least attempt to record 2 songs with the band, but we definitely would not have had time to do 3 songs any justice at all. Whilst the venue definitely was the biggest part of the budget, I am very happy with the choice of the venue, since the proximity to both my cellist house and ICMP led to very efficient problem solving when stuff was missing or strings broke, as well as the really fantastic rustic look that just added so much to the visuals. These are all combinations of reasons why I'm so happy with the venue, even though it was somewhat pricey. With all the emotional and professional ups and downs I've had with this project, I cannot not be proud of what I've done here. I set out to film and record, and even though at times it felt very hard for me to see that I would actually finish or film this project, I did in the end do so, and I am very pleased so far with the visuals I have seen as well as what I've heard. And I still very strongly hold on to the opinion that this is a highly appropriate project to attempt to execute for stage that my artist project is at the moment. Once again, this is Stina Sandberg, and this was my Viva voce presentation for a professional project. Thank you so much for listening.